Crusher versus the Blackjacks, March 4th, 1972. And we just saw the Crusher lose that first fall. And I want to tell you, I don't want to be in Blackjack's shoes at this point. Crusher is starting out the second fall, of course, being as he got pinned on the first fall. But now, you see what's happened to him. He's down. He's been beaten down, and he's getting first aid from, and some comfort, from an equally beaten down Mulligan. And the Crusher is showing him where it's at. The man that made Milwaukee famous, the wrestler, that is, that made Milwaukee famous, and the world's most dangerous wrestler, Dick the Bruiser, the awesome tag team of the century. Hey, he just stuck both thumbs in Lanza's eye, and Lanza is blinded. Back in the corner. And now the Crusher moving in against Mulligan. Mulligan, one big dude, let me tell you. Blackjack Mulligan. Rough and tough. One of the tough guys. I told you about Mulligan, that he came out of Alabama. Well, he's 6'8", 280 pounds. And that's a lot of meat on the hoof there, baby. Lot of muscle, lot of brawn. But look, he takes a good kick right to the chops. Bruiser always sort of softens him up with that and makes them believers. Now he's pummeling into the corner of the rope. Bruiser working over Blackjack Mulligan, while Blackjack Lanza is sort of questioning whether he should get into the action. And now we're going at it. Percy Franklin, one of the great referees of distinction in Illinois, moving in, waiting to see what's going to happen next. And here it is. Bruiser just took him outside the ring, and now he's throwing him back in the ring. And let me tell you, that's at no extra charge. If you were in the first row, we didn't collect extra money if we've got the wrestler out there on your lap. Hey, that was no extra charge for that. Let me tell you, a lot of the fans loved it, right? Hey, there goes Mulligan down again, and those fans in the first row say, shoot him out to me, Bruiser. And there's Lanza. He wants a tag, but Mulligan doesn't even know where he's at, I don't think. This is rough and tough action at the amphitheater, and the date is March 4th, 1972. This is the place where it's all happening, right here, fans. Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher, the awesome tag team, later on in this year, will appear in the most brutal tag team match I've ever seen in my life, and that was in the cage against the Blackjacks. But for now, look at this. Oh, Bobby Heenan just took a belt. And now we're in the corner with the action, and I tell you, it's really exciting here at the amphitheater. Where were you, fans, on this particular day in history? Let me tell you, if you weren't inside the amphitheater seeing this action, you missed it all. This is what it's all about. This is when, hey, I tell you, they used to send us heart patients to make them well, because I tell you, after seeing this, you didn't need a revival. Hey, you went out of here a happy man. The Bruiser and the Crusher, look at them sitting on top of them. Oh, wow. Hey, they just done the job. There they were all piled up in the middle of the ring. The Bruiser and the Crusher. And I tell you, this is a great one. This is a terrific match. This is one for the book. Look at this. Lanza's been hurt. Lanza's been cut, and Lanza is bleeding. Remember what I told you, fans? When the Crusher got pinned by some twist of fate, I said, look out. Well, you see what happened. They're getting their hands raised, but I tell you something. They lost the match because they were disqualified, the Bruiser and the Crusher. See?
Heroes and the Crusher versus the Blackjacks at Soldier Field, Chicago, because we're going to zero in on this date, September 1st, 1972. This is one of the greatest classics of all time, the cage match of this night. Let me tell you, nobody that witnessed this will ever forget it. And for those of you who did not witness it, we're going to play it again, Sam, because I want to tell you, this really gets ugly. This is what you call with no heart. No heart, no soul. These poor guys, no love lost between the two teams. Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher at the height of their career. one of the toughest in the history of the sport. They were never tougher than this night in 72. In fact, we had to go and get the best, toughest referee we could find to handle the match. Jersey Joe Walcott, the former world heavyweight boxing champion, and you see him right there coming in and out of your screen. That's right, Jersey Joe Walcott. And the night before this match, we had Jersey Joe in the same studio with these four guys, trying to lay down rules, you know, for the betterment of, you know, of being kind to one another, to the sense of we just want out slaughter, you know. But they didn't even hardly want to talk to each other in the sense of discussing rules. When they left the meeting, they almost got in a big brawl right there. And the bottom line was no rules. That's right, no rule, no time limit, no disqualification, no mercy. Those were the rules that they decided on. And brother, this is the way it unfolded. Here as you watch, keep in mind that this battle went on for about 35 minutes. So we're not showing the 35 minutes. We're showing the highlights of the match. And in these highlights, you're going to see certain things that you will never see in a cage match in your life. Number one, you're going to see Jersey Joe Walcott, the referee, actually go out in the sense that he could handle the idea of being in that ring and all that violence unfolding around him without really venting his emotions. So he lets Heenan have it towards the end of the match. Plus, at the end of the match, you'll see Heenan vomit in the corner, vomit blood in the corner, and try to shield his face because he didn't want the cameraman to take this film of him vomiting. But he was, hey, you get thudded against that wire for 35, 38 minutes. Hey, brother, your stomach's upside down, and your system ain't in control anymore. And let me tell you, he was loose as a goose in a sense. He couldn't control anything, brother. So he just, that was it. There's pretty boy Bobby Heenan taking that punishment there. And now we got, whoa, Dick the Bruiser is coming in off that rope. This is rough and tough action. The roughest, the toughest that you'll ever see. Here comes Dick the Bruiser. He's pounding on Blackjack Mulligan. Let me tell you, Blackjack Mulligan, how tough is Mulligan? Hey, a guy came in the ring in Boston and cut him up one side and down the other. He took 200 stitches right after he got in a wrestling game. He almost bled to death because nobody wanted to go into the ring and take the knife off the guy that cut him. Finally, a Boston policeman jumped in and they subdued, with the help of one of his partners, the knife wielder, and our friend Blackjack Mulligan was saved from death. And what do you think? Hey, scars running up and down his body. He was back in action 2 months later. And I want to tell you, that's how tough and rough he was. He was tough. He didn't care. And Lanza didn't care. And Bruiser didn't care. Hey, we got 4 guys that just didn't care. And you think that they ever asked for time? Did you think they ever said stop it? You think they ever turned to Walcott and said, hey, stop it? I want to tell you, we were right there ringside. Nobody said nothing. They just kept pounding each other until finally, when it was all over, the Lanza and Mulligan really couldn't continue. But more than that, Heenan was really out of it. And so the match was over. And Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher had won. But I tell you something, it wasn't a clear-cut victory, because Bruiser and Crusher had a lot of damage to themselves. Both of them were bleeding. Look, there, you just saw that. Walcott just gave him a shot, and Heenan's down. See, Walcott was out of control this night. It was incredible. I couldn't believe my eyes. Here we are at Soldier Field, site of the Bears, where they play them great wild and woolly football games. Them great NFL stars pounding on each other. I'll tell you something, Soldier Field never had 4 guys pounding like this in any football game you'll ever see. And there they are trying to escape now. You think they're trying to escape for some unusual reason? No, they're just trying to escape the punishment. That's all. They just want to get out of there. They want to get away from the punishment. Hey, the blows are raining on him. I'll tell you something. Look at the grabbing Heenan, pulling him around. There, you see Mulligan bleeding. Now, Walcott's already, and that's it. Walcott says, look at, that's it. That's the pin. That's the match. But look at Lanza. Lanza says, wait a minute. There is no time limit. But there is, in this sense. See, Mulligan has hurt his knee, but still he could continue. But this is, now look at this, is ugly. Look at this. Heenan throwing him into that fence. That's what you call sadism, brother. That's what you call whateverism. This is bad. This is what you call brutality in wrestling. A rough, tough lineman went on to play with the New York Jets, so you know that he's tough and rough. Blackjack Lanza, well, he's another story. I'm out of Texas, rough and tough, and he was one tough hombre. Blackjack Lanza, and he could take it, let me tell you. You know, when he got his leg broke, I tell you, all he did is lay in the hospital bed and cuss Bruiser. That's all he used to do. That's all he did. Hey, the nurses used to go in, and he wanted to even, you know what I mean? He was hard to control. Doctors want to talk to him, and they want to beat him up all the time. Lanza just waited for the day that he could make revenge, and that was, of course, that came later on in this year, 1972. But for now, Lanza's in one piece, and he's having a big time with the Bruiser. They're pounding each other in the corner there at the International Amphitheater. A great match here. And this was one of the premier matches in Chicago in 1972. Hey, tickets were scalping probably for $100, $200 bucks. That's a lot of money then when the price was $6. But in those days, if you wanted to get down in front to see the Bruiser and in action with the Crusher, for instance, or even with Thomas against the Blackjacks, you had to pay big money if you couldn't buy the $6 ticket. And this show was sold out 2 weeks before, so let me tell you, this was the premier ticket in Chicago, February 12, 1972. This was where it's at. People were here. Hey, there was 2,000 or 3,000 outside, right? They couldn't get in, and we had to call local commander, police commander, and have him send some reinforcements down to put up the barricades so they didn't break the doors down at the amphitheater and come storming in. Yeah, you know, a lot of our security. Oh, wait, what happened there? A double knockout in the ring. Whoa, somebody got their signals crossed. I was just going to tell you. A lot of our security we put on the doors trying to keep the people out who were out in the street trying to get in that didn't have tickets. And, you know, so we split our security forces up. Half of them at the door and half of them at the ring in case there was a riot. But here you see Bobby Heenan has got himself hurt. And Blackjacks, they've got some kind of problem here. Maybe Heenan called the wrong signal because they just crashed like two locomotives crashing in the middle of the night. And now we have, you notice those little decals.